You have someone in your energy with the Two of Wands who recognizes that you have moved forward with your life. You're not coming back. You're no longer chasing them. And it feels like the weight and gravity of this, of your choice to move forward, or maybe they gave you no other choice but to just press on with your life in another direction. This is weighing very heavily upon them. There's a sense that this person can't get over you, hasn't been able to get over you. They thought they could replace you with someone else, or that it would be easy to detach from this circumstance if they're the one that walked away, and it has proven to be very impossible for them. Everything that they have tried to sort of turn away from this circumstance has only resulted in kind of like temporary relief, temporary distractions. They keep gravitating back towards you. And now they notice, like, since they have last looked away from you, maybe this is somebody that like blocked you, on social media, or, has kind of just been trying to be strong within themselves and like not check you out on social media, not think about you, not look back at old pictures, old conversations, or, even just the memories, the nostalgia. Now that they've come back around and it's like, okay, I can't hold out any longer. I have to see, I have to look. I'm curious. They're recognizing that there's been a profound shift within you. Something has changed within your life. Some of you might have moved forward. You've changed your number. You've gotten rid of your social media. You've started something different in your life. You're headed in a new direction. You're dating again, or there may even be somebody special in your life at this point that this person recognizes, and they're feeling very much like, I missed out on an opportunity here. I thought that you would always be somebody who was just kind of waiting for me. Or this is somebody that their ego was very pumped up by the ways in which you chase them, or you were holding out space for them, or maybe you kept allowing this person to sort of give you the runaround with hot and cold behavior, in and out behavior, and you've said no more to that. You've shut the door to them. Like, they shut you out at one point in time, and now there's no more access for them to you in the ways in which they used to be able to do. And this is something that is very like apparent to this person. This is somebody that is very aware of that. They're very aware that like this was the last time that you were going to like sit around and wait, that window of opportunity has closed, that you've changed the lock on the door of opportunity, and they don't have a key. They don't have access. They don't have the ability to kind of reach you in the same way. Or maybe this is somebody that has like tried to reach out, has tried to come back around, but you're not taking the bait this time. You're not biting. You're not kind of like going through that same process with them as you had before. And so there's a recognition like, oh, you've leveled up. You've changed. You're not the same person that I was dealing with. I thought it would be easy to just come back in, and it's not. And so this is something that is like hitting them like a ton of bricks. It's very heavy inside. This is a sense of somebody who's eyes are wide open to the fact that they've kind of like played games in this circumstance, but now they've kind of got the short end of the stick. They're on the losing end of this equation here. Yeah, we've got the Fool. So this is somebody that feels like a fool at this point in time for, handling this situation, how they handled it, for pushing you to the point that you were given no other choice but to just move forward in another direction. This is somebody that it feels like they had their priorities all skewed in the past. This is somebody that, thought they had more time to figure things out with you, thought that, you'd always be there, you'd always be around, you'd always be the person that they could return to. And you might have been that person that was open, was reliable, was kind of like, yeah, I'll wait. Or, you chased them for a period of time, and then at a certain point you chose you and the game changed. And this person is very aware of that. You are no longer, allowing this person a seat at your table, or you've stood up and walked away from the table that they are at, from kind of like what they were offering, the breadcrumbs that they were offering. You're like, nope, that's it, done with that, going off in another direction. And so this is something where they recognize like you've stepped forth into a new cycle, and there's kind of like no choice for them at this point in time but to also truly move in another direction. It's kind of like you've taken them seriously when they might have told you like, I don't want this anymore. I don't love you anymore. I don't like you anymore. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Lose my number. Don't contact me. This is over. We're done with, like, whatever it is that they said. You took that very seriously and you moved forward with your life. And now this is somebody who has cycled back around, and it's like, oh, you took that literally. You took that seriously. So now I have no choice but to move off in another direction too. And so it feels like this is something that is making them very aware at this particular point in time, that it's kind of like, be careful what you wish for because you'll get it. And now they've gotten this experience of sort of like, they've reached the end of the line with you, that you have like created some sort of fresh start for yourself, or you're focusing on like future energies, new energies. You're no longer playing with the past. And so this is something where there's no choice now but for them to truly like move in another direction. It feels like this is somebody that wants to like cry out. They want to reach out to you, kind of like, wait, don't leave me. I want to be with you. I miss you. I was wrong. But there's a sense of like they're operating this energy of a fool. Like, I was such a fool to think that I had the upper hand in this situation when you've shown me the opposite is the case. You've taken your power back from the situation. So I know that you're not going to play mind games with me anymore. I know that you're protecting your heart. You've raised your self-esteem. You've raised your value. I didn't see your value before. I didn't appreciate it before. And now that value has increased in a way that they feel like they can't even afford a seat at the table that you've created, or that it's unlikely you'd give them an opportunity to try and redeem themselves. And so there's a sense of kind of like they've been forced into a reset themselves, which is kind of, it's a struggle for them because there's like no one to blame but themselves. Yeah, we have the Five of Pentacles. So this is somebody that is suffering in silence. They miss you. They miss the connection. They missed out on an opportunity, and they feel like they missed the boat with you. And there's a sense of kind of like, I'm not happy in my situation. I'm not happy with the choices that I made. I'm not happy with kind of the results of those. I'm not happy about the fact that, I pushed you away, and now I can't help but sort of like look with envy or with longing or with sorrow at the fact that you've moved forward with your life in another direction that doesn't include me. This person recognizes that they've written themselves out of your equation. This is somebody that now recognizes like you were never the problem, that there was something within them that was very like closed off, something that was very impulsive, something where, they operated on a polarity of almost like fear that could have satisfied certain requirements, certain goals that they had, or, even certain hesitations that they had in the past. And this is almost someone that felt like they might have just been able to stroll back in and bygones would be bygones. You just let them back in, or you'd be like, great, okay, you're finally here, let's get this love story started. Only they showed up, and it's kind of like, you're not there anymore. You're not that same person anymore. The same kind of methods that they had used in the past, you've evolved beyond those things. And so this person is really feeling at a loss. It's kind of like the loss is theirs, and they're feeling that very heavily. We also have the Nine of Cups. So it feels like this person is trying very hard to appear very unbothered or unaffected. They're trying to put on a brave face, but it feels like there's a lot of tension in their energy. Something where other people might be kind of coming up to this person at this point, like in their life, and like, is something wrong? Is something on your mind? You seem weird. You seem off. Like, what's going on? And this person's just like, nope, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. But inside, it's like they've got all kinds of emotions going on. There's a heavy sense of regret. There's a heavy sense of sorrow, but it's almost like they can't confide in anyone about that. They don't have an outlet to express that to anyone at this point, because they had done the most for so long to like convince other people they didn't care about you, you didn't matter, they didn't love you, they weren't interested in the situation. And so it's almost like to open up to anyone in their life at this point about how they're feeling, it's almost like no one would understand that. They'd be like, that's totally the opposite of everything you've said all along. That's opposite of kind of like how you've been acting. You've been, dating multiple people. You've been stringing multiple people along. What are you so worried about that person from way back when? Or, that person that you were having that on again, off again situation with, that you told everyone you didn't care for, that your actions have not spoken in a long time or ever as that person having any importance, any relevance in your life. Or this could even be somebody that still has like shallow connections. They may have multiple options, and they're trying to just kind of like continue to live their life in that fashion, but there's a deep sense of sorrow as far as like you're concerned. And so nobody in their life would be like, oh yeah, we get that and understand that. And that's where you're talking to like three other people, or you're kind of like going on dates, or spending quality time, or having like three people come over in the course of one day or in one weekend. This person could definitely be a player. They're in that kind of Casanova energy, and so it feels like what is happening with them emotionally doesn't equate with how they've been carrying themselves in kind of the outer world. It doesn't equate with kind of like what's been going on with them as far as dating, romance, strategies in that regard. So this is just a truth they need to keep inside at this point. We also have temperance. So they see you as the blessing that they missed out on. I'm hearing the one that got away. So this is something where it's kind of like now that lesson has hit home for them. They had an opportunity to heal, to grow alongside you in this connection, to do the right thing, or to, kind of get out of their own way as far as self-sabotage is concerned. And they see now you've removed yourself from the equation. You've taken your power back and you've directed that elsewhere. You've poured it into yourself. And for those of you that have met someone else, you're dating, or you're looking to meet someone new, this person recognizes that it's like you're not playing with them anymore. You're not participating in that kind of cycle that has come to its completion. You are following your heart. You're following your intuition in other directions. And if you're not already, with someone, or you're not already, in a talking stage with a new person, this individual thinks it's just a matter of time before you meet someone. They recognize that somebody like you brings a lot to the table, actually, emotionally, energetically, romantically. And so again, it's more that energy of the fool. Like, I was a fool for letting someone like you go. The next person that comes along, they're probably not going to be that foolish. So this person really feels like they've hit the end of the road as far as you are concerned. And there's almost a sense of like, is this just my karma now? Now I get it. Now I'm in that position of like, you were chasing me for so long, or you were putting up with, what I was dishing out for so long, and now you've switched up. Now you've closed off to me. Now you've moved in another direction. So now I'm this person that is like stranded in love all alone, but I've made myself a castaway. I've put myself in that position. I have no one to blame but myself. Yeah, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is somebody that wishes they could take back something that they said. Something that they said that you took very seriously. You took it to heart. It was kind of like the last straw. You honored this person's wishes. You held fast to some kind of ultimatum. You gave this person an opportunity. You could have tried to reach out to this person and communicate, and they just left you on red. They had plenty of time to turn this situation around. Ample opportunity, and they didn't. So you had no choice but to move forward with your life. And so again, this is somebody that is kind of like they're eating their words at this particular point in time, or something that might have even just been like an internal state of mind, kind of like in the past, or like, well, you're not what I'm looking for. This is not what I want. I'm not ready to settle down. I'm not ready to commit to you. I don't like where this relationship is going. I don't like what you're bringing to my table. All of that has changed. And now there's a sense of kind of like they've turned around to sort of say something like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I want another chance. Now I want to knock on that door and see what's possible, only you're nowhere to be found. That version of you doesn't exist anymore. You've set your sights towards other things. You're following your intuition in another direction. And so it feels like this is something that it's really bothering this person, because they see that this is like, they've done this to themselves. They've almost given you like no choice but to carry forward. Yeah, we have the Queen of Swords. So this is somebody that is now forced to sort of sit with their shadow, forced to sit with the repercussions of kind of like what the careless words they had given you in the past were, or the fact that they had ignored you for a considerable amount of time, and they didn't almost like think you had it in you to sort of pull yourself out of their clutches, or out of some kind of energetic spell that they had like woven around you. Something where in the past this could could have been like a codependent relationship, something where you were operating with like a lower level of self-esteem or a lot of wounding. And it feels like this person is definitely something that you would probably equate as like a karmic connection, maybe even a catalyst. They've catalyzed a profound change within you. And you've been very true and very diligent with that, learning from the experience and finding a way to move forward from that. And so now this is something where it's this person's turn to sort of sit within that reality, where they are not happy in with this kind of space in their life where your light should be. They are not happy with the fact that like they said things carelessly or they ignored you, and you didn't take that as an invitation to chase even harder. Like you might have done that for a period of time, but at a certain point you said enough is enough, and you turned and moved in a different direction. You chose yourself. And so it feels like this is hitting home for this person now, where they can't reach you. You're not like interested in what they bring to the table. You maybe sort of see that this person, whatever they had going on, whatever they were bringing to you in the past, that this is something that aligned with like an unhealed version of you. Even if you're just starting out on that process of like choosing better for yourself, it's like you've turned in a different direction. And this has created a gulf between you and this person that they see as very like, they can't cross that. They don't know how to go about doing that. Their journey of self-actualization is now beginning, and you're like up in the energy of the court cards. You've already come out of the minor arcana, that kind of like back and forth energy. You're on a whole other level that they cannot reach in like a quick amount of time, in a reasonable amount of time. This person may be feeling kind of the pressure of time itself. It's just a matter of time before, somebody else snatches you up. It's just a matter of time before you align with someone that isn't going to give you the runaround, that isn't going to create so much kind of anguish inside of you or chaos or destruction in your life. Somebody that's going to love you correctly. And so now they're kind of sitting with that, sort of like looking at their own shadow and like, I've gotten myself into this mess. I don't have anyone to blame but myself. Yeah, we got the Five of Swords. So there's a part of them that feels like a loser for whatever has happened in this situation. Whatever they had kind of like done in this circumstance, anything that was really sneaky, anything that was very like underhanded, anything where they might have kind of like led you on and then switched up at the last minute. There's a sense of kind of like, they know that that wasn't right. They know that that was like the wrong thing to do, or that it was selfish, or that it was toxic. And so there's a part of them that's like, how could I expect that you would be open to reconnect with me? How could I expect that now that you've raised your vibration, you've moved on towards other things, that you would even kind of fall for the same tricks as before, that you would even like see me in the same light? This person understands that they need to go through some kind of journey of personal transformation and evolution to even remotely have the possibility of connecting with you somewhere further in the future. They feel very immediately that they've missed out. They've lost out on this. You're the one that got away. And while you were kind of made to shed tears over this person, this is the one that is now like crying over spilt milk. Yeah, we also have the World. So they see you as somebody who, you've got all your ducks in a row. You've got your life together. You have done a beautiful job of kind of picking up the pieces of the wreckage that this person created for you, or maybe even other things you had going on in your life while you were dealing with this person, or things that went on, after you've like parted ways, or in the midst of your interactions in the past. You've turned over a new leaf. You've moved in a different direction, or you're putting your full focus on that. A very self-focused energy, a self-directed energy, but with the intention of blossoming and of abundance in order to be able to cultivate that in different areas of your life. And this really highlights for this person how their self-focus was almost like selfishness, or like narcissism, something where it's kind of like, yeah, I was focused on me, but I wasn't considering the well-being of others. I wasn't considering the emotions of others. I wasn't thinking about the consequences of my choices. I wasn't thinking about, sort of the hurt that would accompany certain words, or, the results of certain actions that I took. And so this is somebody that's now kind of looking around at this place where like there's a desire to reach out to you. There's a desire for something more. And yet there's a fundamental kind of like lack of ability to think that that can realistically happen. It's something that this person almost just feels it's better to sort of stay silent and just sort of like stew over this or ruminate over this, because there's a sense of like the version of you right now would either ignore them, or maybe again you've like blocked them, you've changed your number, you moved, you closed out your social media, you are inaccessible to this person at this point in time. You're not running in the same circles, you're not doing the same things, your life is different in some way, or you're trying to move in that direction, and there's a sense of like we can't even communicate in the same level anymore. The ways in which you might have been responsive to me, I understand that that's not going to work for you anymore, so I don't know what I could really say that would do anything other than compel you to kind of just shut me out, to ignore me, or to give me a piece of your mind, which it feels like the idea of confronting you directly or hearing your personal truth, even though it's like you are owed the opportunity, it feels like, to express yourself to this person, it's almost like more than they can handle at this point. Yeah, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is an energy with this person understands like your heart is most likely closed to them. This is a closed opportunity. You are moving in the direction of love. Like this person has given you no other option but to choose love. And what they were offering to you in the past, or in kind of like the entirety of your connection, it was the opposite of love. It was very fear-based. It was very toxic. It was something that didn't align with what you were looking for. And you might have put up with that for a period of time. You might have like waited for this person to change. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. You settled with this person, but you've raised those standards. You've closed off to things that lower your vibration. So this person really feels like, I want a second chance with you. I would love to be able to come in and get things right, but I understand I'm gonna need to go through some kind of like deep transformation, which they're, again, in that energy of like the Fool. They are just the beginning of what might be a very long journey. And so it's kind of like they don't have the ability to do anything else at this point other than kind of just like watch you continue to live your life in a different way, watch you move in a different direction, or if you've met someone else and this person's aware of it, to kind of like watch you be loved correctly by someone else. And I'm hearing it should have been me. So yeah, this person is definitely heavily in regret at this time. They see what they've missed out on, and they think of you as the one that got away. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.